Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. I, too, am a champion of not losing Perna. Browns fans, please enjoy being alive for a change. You deserve it. I am picking every game for the week in the NFL, week 3, and we're starting to learn which teams are real and which teams are as fake as the lives we portray on Instagram. At Brandon Perna, if you want more football stuff and hot cat picks. I still promise to be wrong about close to half of this week's games. That's the That's Good Sports guarantee. Guaranteed shit. Like a cup of coffee and a cigarette in the morning. That's Good Sports. If you're happy about the Browns win, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, this episode is sponsored by BetDSI.com. BetDSI is one of the most trusted sports books out there. You can place bets on all these games at BetDSI and use my link in the description and my promo code GS100, and BetDSI will match your first deposit up to $1,000. That's free money for you to lose if you take my advice here today. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams 7-point favorites with the 48 over-under. Chargers are playing an away game in the city they reside. Well, because driving to the other side of Los Angeles takes as long as a plane flight to the East Coast. Trust me, I used to live there. I guess the homeless Chargers playing in LA as a road game is fair, given that they have an extra 8 road games pretty much every year. Philip Rivers said this week that he's not done having kids. So there's a good chance all the vigorous lovemaking he's been doing has him a little too relaxed against a terrifying Rams defense. Maybe Rivers should just try beating Goff, who's been playing mistake-free football for the Rams. Beating Goff always helps to clear your mind. I know it should be hard beating Goff. Nobody said it shouldn't be hard when you're beating Goff. Beating Goff, though, in public is both a thrill and a risk. Hashtag beating Goff. Indianapolis Colts at Philadelphia Eagles. Philly, 6.5-point favorites, over under 47.5. Frank Reich, the Eagles' offensive coordinator last year, is returning to coach against his former team. This is definitely personal between Reich and Doug Pederson, so expect them to pull out all the stops in this game. There'll be trick plays you've never even imagined were possible. I'm talking triple flea flickers where the quarterback and running back just keep tossing the ball back to each other. Philly specials, Philly super specials, and Philly regulars. You're gonna see reverses, traverses, inverses, fake kicks, quick kicks, drop kicks, fumble rooskies, and maybe even 2 kids posing as a man in a trench coat. The whole shebang. Also, the half shebang. Give me the waddle dupes over the googly gops in a game where nothing is real. Cincinnati Bengals at Carolina Panthers. Panthers 3-point favorites at home, over under 43.5. The Bengals are coming off of 10 days rest. Cam Newton is coming off of 10 days since he last wore a dress. You're making it really hard for me to root against Andy Dalton, Cam, when you dress like that. Carolina is doing my guy, C.J. Anderson, dirty. 7 carries week 1, 3 carries week 2, a 5-yard average, then a 10-yard average. Feed him the fucking rock. Bengals will be without their running back, Joe Mixon, and their rookie center, Billy Price. But I'm still taking the Bengals. I like their defense, and I hate the Panthers secondary. Plus, after watching Black Panther, it's really hard to be impressed by normal humans who put on pretty blue clothes and call themselves Panthers. Tennessee Titans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags are 6-point favorites on BetDSI, over under at 40. I've seen some predictions as high as a 30-10 win for Jacksonville. The Jags have Leonard Fournette and Jalen Ramsey listed as questionable. Marcus Mariota has a lingering elbow injury. Maybe when his elbow heals, he'll have new wide receivers and tight ends to catch the fucking ball. Jags cover the spread and become the clear-cut favorites in the AFC. New Orleans Saints at Atlanta Falcons. Saints 3-point favorites, and this is tied for the second highest over-under at 53.5. Brown and fruit. What's that, you ask? It's the German word for the shame a team feels after they almost lose to the Browns. Stay tuned next week when we give you the word for what a team feels when they actually lose to the Browns. Jetterluge. The Saints are going to be forced to get on the right track while Atlanta wants to go 2-0 in the NFC South, which seems to be about as unpredictable as that NOLA defense, which has gotten torched by Ryan Fitzpatrick and gave up a late touchdown to the Browns, which almost lost them the game. You have to be consistent in the NFL, which means the Saints should have let Tyrod Taylor throw 5 touchdown passes last week. It's called having an identity, New Orleans. Falcons win, I guess. Broncos, Ravens. As usual, the Broncos games will get an in-depth review on my channel tomorrow morning. New York Giants at Houston Texans. The G-Men, 6-point dogs on the road, 42 over-under. 2 teams still looking for their first win. 1 team still looking for an offensive line. The Giants took their biggest weakness, Eric Flowers, and did what I do when I don't want to deal with my dirty laundry and push it over to the other side. Right now, the Texans are favored to beat the Giants, which means Deshaun Watson is finally on the right side of the line. Speaking of the right side of the line, that's where Flowers is going up against Whitney Merciless, who, despite his last name, is a very talented and considerate player. If anyone can console the biggest draft bust in Giants history, it's a man named Merciless. Trademark Brandon Perna 2018. A man named Merciless is a Western movie idea you can no longer steal. And give me the Giants to steal a game they should definitely lose, because the Texans now have the longest losing streak in the NFL, and I want to see that streak continue. I love streaks, especially in my underwear. Oakland Raiders at Miami Dolphins. Miami 3-point favorites, over-under at 44.5. The Dolphins are 2-0 to start the season, and more importantly, they're in first place in the AFC East. Just because I want anyone to challenge the fucking Patriots in that division, I'm picking the Dolphins for as long as I possibly can and not sound like a crazy person. Just like Jared Goff and Case Keenum, Ryan Tannehill should have plenty of time to throw while Jon Gruden keeps saying very stupid things about the Khalil Mack trade.
It's hard to find a great one. It's hard to find a good one. It's hard to find one. You just said it.
No shit, John. You know what else is really hard to find? A rent-controlled apartment in Manhattan. Just ask Carrie Bradshaw. And that's why you hang on to both. Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City, of course, not Terry Bradshaw from Sex in the Locker Room. Dolphins win, going 3-0 for the first time since Dan Marino. Probably. I didn't check that stat. Green Bay Packers at Washington Redskins. Packers 3-point favorites on the road, 45.5 over-under. It's the matchup between the 2 quarterbacks from the 2005 draft, Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith. Rodgers has 1 more Super Bowl, but Smith has 1 more functioning knee, so it might be a toss-up. Seeing what Pat Mahomes is doing in Kansas City makes me wonder how good Smith really is. Is he lose to the Steelers at home in the divisional round good, or just lose to the Titans in the wild card round good? Those are the only ways I know how to measure a Kansas City Chiefs quarterback. In the saying things that are obvious category, Aaron Rodgers said he is worried that his knee will get worse throughout the season. If Rodgers plays, I still believe in miracles. Packers win unless he sits. And in the least interesting matchup of the week, Buffalo Bills at Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are 16.5-point favorites, by far the biggest of the week, 40.5 over-under. There is an illustrious history of missed field goals between these 2 teams, but the Vikings fixed that by signing Dan Bailey. Buffalo looks as bad as any team in the NFL, and Sean McDermott is in danger of losing the locker room. Literally, 1/53 of the locker room just walked the fuck out last week. Is it because Vontae Davis was done with football? No, it's because McDermott got rid of all the cool shit in the locker room. I came to Buffalo for the video games and pool tables. Now that they're gone, so am I, Vontae Davis. If any team can pass the Texans for longest losing streak, it's Buffalo. So I'll take the Vikings and the 16.5-point favorites because fuck it. San Francisco 49ers at Kansas City Chiefs. KC, 6.5-point favorites with an over-under at 55, biggest of the week. These 2 teams have shared quite a few quarterbacks over the years. Steve DeBerg, Joe Montana, Steve Bono, Elvis Gerbach, and most recently Alex Smith. This made me wonder what would happen if these two teams swapped quarterbacks now. I think Jimmy Garoppolo would do well in Andy Reid's West Coast offense. However, I think Patrick Mahomes would be gradually sucked into San Francisco's counterculture movement of LSD, anti-Vietnam protests, and worst of all, free love. Also, I think he would be pretty good in Kyle Shanahan's offense. I'll take the Chiefs. Chicago Bears at Arizona. Are we really even a team Cardinals? Bears, 5.5-point favorites, over under 38. Will Keys helps me write all of these episodes. Please give him a follow on Twitter at WillKeys6. The Chicago Bears have officially changed their name to "We're a reminder of how stupid Jon Gruden is for trading Khalil Mack." Chicagans. This was, of course, that famous, original, "The Bears are who we thought they were" game. And there are some parallels from that team. Chicago has a great defense, inconsistent QB play, and the Cardinals even have a rookie QB from Southern California. It makes me nostalgic for the unforgettable year that was 2006, when I was just a young lad graduating from an art college and believing that was going to set me up for real-world success. I ended up editing porn in Boulder and watching all of my college friends get laid while I drunkenly passed out to my Simpsons DVD collection. The Bears will win by at least a touchdown. Dallas Cowboys at Seattle Seahawks. Seattle are 1.5-point favorites at home, 41.5 over under. The Cowboys bounced back last week against the Giants, while the Seahawks were overmatched by the Bears on Monday Night Football. But this is Seattle's home opener. What I want to know is how many of the 12s are showing up to see what looks like a pretty bad team. The 12s famously got their nickname when they started rooting for the Seahawks way back in 2012. Will they stick around to see their QB get sacked 12 times a game? To see their team go 4-12? 12 separate 12 men on the field penalties? You get the idea. I like Dallas. Anytime a game is set at less than 3 points, it means nobody fucking knows if either team will win. New England Patriots at Detroit Lions. Patriots, of course, 7-point favorites on the road, over under at 53.5. It's master versus pupil. The cutoff sweatshirt versus the pencil. Belichick versus Patricia. I don't think there's even the slightest chance Detroit wins. There's a reason Belichick's coaching tree has been so bad. It's because as a coaching tree, he's the roots, and the trunk, and the branches, and the leaves, and the shade. Because no one throws it better, am I right? And when a little seedling breaks off and leaves to coach on his own, Belichick poisons that seed and curses it with a winning drought because he controls the football weather. Until that seed comes crying back to the only home that will accept it. Fucking McDaniels crawled back twice. Stafford, I believe in you to cover the spread but still lose. Pittsburgh Steelers at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Steelers somehow 1.5-point favorites on the road to Sex Magic and the Bucs. 53.5 over under. No defense versus no defense. Drama versus sex. It doesn't take a Harvard grad to realize that the Bucs are talented beyond Ryan Fitzpatrick. If I bet against Ryan Fitzpatrick now, I think that makes me a communist, and I ain't no fucking commie. This should be a high-scoring affair. If it's not a high-scoring affair, what the hell is the point of having an affair? The company, the conversations, oh please. Las Vegas, a city built by magic. Well, the mafia and magic doesn't believe in Ryan Fitzmagic. Fuck you, Vegas. Tampa Bay will continue their dominance. The only illusion here is that the Steelers are any good. Fitzmagic, 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 Fitzmagic. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Share this video, of course, with your grandparents. Give me a follow on Twitter at Brandon Perna, Instagram at Brandon Perna, and Will Keys and I do a podcast every Thursday and Monday on my second channel, That's Good Podcasts. Also on iTunes and Podbean. That's Good Sports Podcast is what it is called.